Rabbi Sai Azoi. When a person killed accidentally b'shogeg, he would flee to an Ir Miklat, a city of refuge. The only way for him to be eventually released from the Ir Miklat would be with the death of the Kohen Gadol. And therefore the Mishnah in Makos reports that the mothers of the Kohanim Gedolim would send clothing and food to these Roitzchim b'shogeg in order they should not daven for the Kohen Gadol to die. But the Meforshim are bothered. Number one, Chazal tell us that a person who killed b'shogeg was not actually innocent. So why would the Tefilas of such a Rotzeach have the ability to endanger the life of that holy man, the Kohen Gadol? And number two, why would providing some food and a raincoat dissuade the person who killed b'shogeg from davening for his only possible get-out clause? My hi. Rav Yosef Shalom Eliyashiv was born in Lita in 1910. His birth was surrounded by miraculous circumstances. More on that soon. His father was an esteemed Talmid Chacham, the Rav of the Russian town of Homel. His grandfather was the great, renowned Kabbalist, the Leshem. Young Yosef Shalom was a very brilliant but sickly child, who therefore spent most of his time indoors in order to avoid catching illness. When he was aged 10, these three generations came together to live in Yerushalayim. And for the next 92 years, he emerged as the Masmid Ador, the Posek Ador, and the Gadol Ador. His learning schedule was extraordinary. Started every day at 2 a.m. and he learned for approximately 18 hours a day after day, month after month, year after year, decade after decade. Aside from a short time on the Beis Din, he never really had a formal position. He spent most of his time locked away in the Ohr Somayach, learning by himself, but speaking as if it was a Chavrusashaft, discussing the Sugya. Listen to the Torah purity of his voice. That's all he was seeking. Shivti b'beis Hashem, kol yemei chayai. One anecdote summarizes this beautifully. In the 1990s, a man came from America, a man in his 80s, to visit the Mea Sharem neighborhood in which he was raised. And he stood outside the Ohr Somayach and said, I remember when I was a young boy, there was another boy who learned here. He would sit here all day, learning Gemara with Hasmada without interruption. I wonder where that young boy is today. The Mea Sharem resident he was speaking to informed him, that young boy is still sitting on the same bench, inside that locked, dilapidated building. He is renowned throughout the world as one of the greatest halakhic authorities of the generation. And yet Rabbi Eliyashiv's greatness went beyond those walls and touched all of Klal Yisrael as the most complex halakhic questions and the most influential people of the generation would come his way. Back now to our questions about the Rotzeach b'shogeg and leaving the Ir Miklat. Why would his Tefila leave the Holy Kohen Gadol in danger? One answer which is offered is that a Tefila which comes from a place of real, genuine need, that has a special koach, like a sword, which is dangerous even in the hands of a weak person. And therefore his desperation to leave the Ir Miklat would, yes, leave the Kohen Gadol vulnerable. And now our second question. Why would the mother of the Kohen Gadol sending food and clothing help? Well, the answer is, it actually would not have stopped the Rotzeach from davening. But once she was sending him things and she was being caring towards him, that would have made his Tefillah somewhat less heartfelt and therefore somewhat less dangerous. That message of the power of a heartfelt Tefillah is the background to the story of Rabbi Eliyashiv's birth. His parents had been married for 17 years. Their only child had been born 7 years previously, but she had died of illness, age 2, and they were desperate to have a child. Their last hope was to go to an expert doctor who lived a 2-week journey from their home in Shavel, Lithuania. But after their long journey, not only did the doctor not encourage them, but he in fact caused them to be more despondent. But on the way home, Rebbetzin Chaim, not wanting to upset her husband, held back her tears. And when she arrived home and she saw her great father, the Leshem, again she held herself back from crying, lest she upset him. Only when she went to a nearby machsan, a quiet storage room, where no one would see her, did she let out a deep, heartfelt, tearful plea to Hashem. Those tears, that bakasha, was not just 2 weeks in coming. It had been stored up for 5 years. When she returned, she revealed the reason for her pain to her father, Leshem. He told her, "My daughter, It says in Ashrei that Hashem is close to all those Asher Yikru Be'emes. What's a Kriya Shel Emes? And what's a Kriya She'ena Shel Emes? He explained a Tefila, which is Stama Bakasha. That's a Kriya She'ena Shel Emes. But a Tefila, a plea, which comes with the understanding that nothing, no one else, no doctor can help, that's a Kriya Shel Emes. And Bezrat Hashem, your Tefillah will be answered. A year later, Rabbi Eliyashiv was born. And the day after his bris, his grandfather, the Leshem, wrote a letter in which he said the following words: "May it be the will of our Father in heaven that he grow to be a light to the world." And how those words came true. Good Shabbos.